Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We begin today's report with a developing security situation in the North Atlantic that has triggered a high-level alert across NATO command centers. According to a press statement released just hours ago by the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense and the Royal Navy, a Russian nuclear-powered guided missile submarine of the Yasen-M class has been detected and intercepted in the strategic GIUK Gap, the vital maritime choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. What makes this event unprecedented is the asset deployed for the intercept. For the first time in operational history, the Royal Navy has deployed its newest hunter killer, the Type 26 City-class frigate, to shadow the Russian vessel. While official sources initially withheld the specific hull number, maritime tracking data and visual confirmation suggest this is the baptism of fire for the HMS Glasgow. The Russian Ministry of Defense has issued a brief communiqué via their official channels, stating that their Northern Fleet assets are conducting scheduled long-range navigation exercises in international waters. However, the fact that a Yasen-M, Russia's most advanced and stealthy submarine platform, capable of carrying Zircon hypersonic cruise missiles, has surfaced in such a contested corridor suggests this is more than a routine drill. NATO Allied Maritime Command has raised its vigilance level, and we are seeing corroborating reports from U.S. Naval Institute News indicating that P-8A Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft are currently circling the area. This is a direct face-off between Russia's underwater apex predator and the West's most advanced anti-submarine warfare surface combatant. In this special report, we will break down the technical matchup between the Type 26's acoustic signature capabilities and the Yasen-M's stealth coating, and analyze what this specific maneuver signals for the naval balance of power in 2026. To fully grasp the magnitude of this confrontation in the North Atlantic, we must first strip away the political rhetoric and examine the cold, hard engineering reality of the assets involved. This is not a standard patrol. It is a collision of two distinct naval philosophies: Russian brute force concealed by advanced stealth versus British specialized acoustic precision. Let us begin with the subsurface threat. The contact in question is confirmed to be a Project 885M, known in NATO reporting names as the Yasen-M class. According to data from the Russian Ministry of Defense, this vessel represents the pinnacle of post-Soviet submarine engineering. Unlike its predecessors, the Akula or Victor classes, the Yasen-M is not strictly an attack submarine. It is a nuclear-powered guided missile cruiser that operates underwater. Displacing approximately 13,800 tons when submerged, the Yasen-M is a leviathan. However, size in this context does not equal noise. Analyses from the U.S. Naval Institute and technical breakdowns by the Warzone indicate that the Yasen-M utilizes a fourth-generation active noise cancellation system and a single-shaft propulsion design specifically engineered to minimize acoustic cavitation. Its hull is coated in advanced anechoic tiles, rubberized, distinct layers designed to absorb active sonar pulses rather than reflecting them, effectively making the submarine invisible to older detection methods. But the true danger lies in its offensive loadout. This vessel is equipped with vertical launch systems, VLS, capable of firing the 3M22 Zircon hypersonic cruise missile. As noted in multiple defense briefings, the Zircon is capable of reaching speeds of Mach 9, posing a severe challenge to current shipborne air defense systems. The presence of such a platform in the GIUK Gap, the maritime gateway between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom, means that the Russian Northern Fleet can theoretically hold key targets in Europe and the North American eastern seaboard at risk without ever leaving the concealment of the deep Atlantic. Facing this underwater fortress, is the Royal Navy's answer to modern anti-submarine warfare, the Type 26 City-class frigate, specifically HMS Glasgow. The British Ministry of Defence and the Royal Navy have long touted the Type 26 as the world's most advanced ASW, anti-submarine warfare, combatant. This is not a general-purpose ship. It is a specialist hunter. Displacing roughly 6,900 to 8,000 tons, depending on loadout, the Glasgow is designed around one critical requirement: acoustic hygiene. The ship's propulsion system features an electrically driven motor for quiet cruising speeds. This allows the vessel to tow its primary sensor, the Thales 2087 sonar, without its own engine noise contaminating the data. The 2087 is a low-frequency active and passive towed array, widely regarded by naval analysts as one of the few sensors capable of detecting the quiet hull of a Russian nuclear submarine at significant ranges. By trailing this sensor miles behind the ship, the Type 26 can listen below the layer, the thermal thermocline in the ocean that usually reflects sound waves and hides submarines from hull-mounted sonars. Strategically, the location of this intercept is critical. The GIUK Gap is the choke point through which the Russian Navy must pass to access the open Atlantic. During the Cold War, this was the line in the sand. In 2026, it remains the primary theater of naval friction. According to NATO documents, the alliance has observed a marked increase in Russian submarine activity in this sector over the past 24 months. The deployment of the Yasen-M into this corridor is not accidental. It is a probe. They are testing the response times of the Royal Navy and the detection threshold of NATO's SOSUS underwater hydrophone networks. However, the HMS Glasgow is not operating blind. Integration with the P-8A Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft creates a multi-domain dragnet. While the frigate listens from the surface, the PT-8A drops sonobuoy patterns from the air, triangulating the submarine's position. This technical mismatch creates a volatile dynamic. The Yasen-M relies on stealth and the threat of a hypersonic first strike. The Type 26 relies on acoustic transparency and data fusion to deny that stealth. What we are witnessing today is the first real-world stress test of the Type 26's design philosophy against the very threat it was built to negate. If the HMS Glasgow has indeed maintained a firing solution on the Yasen-M without being detected in return, it validates billions of pounds in British naval investment. If the Yasen-M slipped through unnoticed until it chose to surface, it signals a dangerous gap in NATO's underwater shield. To understand the gravity of the situation currently unfolding in the North Atlantic, we must reconstruct the timeline of events. Based on data released by NATO Maritime Command and flight tracking logs analyzed by open-source intelligence groups, the operation began in the early hours of this morning, under the cover of darkness. 0330 Zulu time. The initial acoustic anomaly was registered not by the HMS Glasgow itself, but by a seabed hydrophone array part of the SOSUS network, located approximately 200 nautical miles southeast of the Greenland coast. The acoustic signature was faint, transient, but distinct enough to trigger an automatic alert at the Northwood headquarters in the United Kingdom. The signature suggested a heavy displacement vessel operating at deep depth, attempting to mask its propulsion noise. 0345 Zulu time. Upon receiving the vector from Northwood, HMS Glasgow, which was conducting sea trials near the Faroe Islands, was ordered to alter course immediately. The the ship went to action stations. The commanding officer ordered the vessel to reduce speed to 12 knots to minimize self-noise, optimizing the performance of the Thales 2087 towed array sonar streaming miles behind the ship. This is the sprint and drift tactic, moving into position, then slowing to listen. SOFOR 15. Zulu time. The onboard Merlin Mk2 helicopter, callsign Tiger 01, was scrambled from the flight deck of the Glasgow. This asset is critical. While the ship listens from a distance, the Merlin flies ahead to the predicted contact area. We have confirmed reports that the helicopter deployed active dipping sonar, lowering a sensor into the water on a cable to ping the depths. This is an aggressive maneuver. It signals to the submarine. "We know you are there." 05 Unkwak. Zulu time. The contact was reacquired. This time the acoustic return was solid. The submarine was tracking south-southwest, attempting to navigate the deep trenches of the mid-Atlantic ridge. At this point, the game of cat and mouse escalated. The Royal Navy frigate began active pinging, sending powerful pulses of sound through the water. For a submarine crew, this is a deafening psychological pressure tactic. It confirms they have lost their cloak of invisibility. 0620. Zulu time. The critical moment. In a move that surprised naval observers, the subsurface contact initiated an emergency ballast blow. The vessel surfaced rapidly. Images captured by the P-8A Poseidon, which had by now joined the hunt from RAF Lossiemouth, confirmed the silhouette of a Project 885M Yasen-M class submarine. The vessel was identified by its distinctively long hull and the low-profile hydrodynamic tower. It surfaced in international waters, roughly 90 miles from the limit of the UK's Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ. The HMS Glasgow closed the distance, positioning itself parallel to the Russian vessel at a safe standoff range of 2,000 yards. Bridge-to-bridge radio communication was established on Maritime Channel 16. The interaction, while tense, remained professional. Official statements and diplomatic fallout. Following the surfacing event, the Royal Navy released a statement from the First Sea Lord. I quote the official text directly. "The Royal Navy has successfully shadowed and intercepted a Russian Federation Navy submarine in the North Atlantic. This operation demonstrates the readiness of the Type 26 frigate and our ability to protect the UK's underwater critical infrastructure and sea lines of communication. We will continue to monitor the vessel's transit in accordance with international law." Simultaneously, the Russian Ministry of Defense in Moscow released a counter-statement via the TSS news agency. The tone was dismissive but revealing. The translation reads, "The nuclear-powered submarine Kazan is performing planned combat training tasks in the Atlantic Ocean. The surfacing maneuver was a scheduled part of the navigation exercise to verify communication systems. Reports of technical distress are Western propaganda. The crew is operating normally." However, naval experts dispute the Russian claim of a scheduled surfacing. Submarines of this class, whose primary asset is stealth, do not voluntarily surface in close proximity to NATO warships unless forced to do so by technical failure or because they were effectively cornered and needed to signal de-escalation. 0800. Zulu. Time to present. As of the recording of this video, the situation remains fluid. The Russian submarine is currently proceeding on the surface at a slow speed of 8 knots, heading northeast, likely returning towards the Barents Sea. The HMS Glasgow continues to shadow the vessel, maintaining a guns-cold but high-alert posture. We are also seeing diplomatic ripples. The British Foreign Office has summoned the Russian ambassador to clarify the submarine's intentions near critical undersea data cables. This is standard diplomatic protocol, but it underscores the anxiety regarding hybrid warfare threats. The tactical reality on the water is clear. The Royal Navy has successfully marked the target. They have recorded the Yasen-M's acoustic signature, its unique sound fingerprint. This data is now being uploaded to the NATO library. For the Russian Northern Fleet, this is a tactical defeat. Their premier stealth asset has been catalogued by the very ship designed to hunt it. But the question remains, was this a genuine intercept of a fully operational submarine, or did the Yasen-M suffer a malfunction that forced it up? We noticed in the aerial footage that tug vessels from the Russian auxiliary fleet have been dispatched from Severomorsk. This suggests the scheduled exercise narrative may be a cover for a mechanical breakdown, a recurring issue in the Russian Navy's history. For the crew of the HMS Glasgow, this is their validation. The first operational test of the Type 26 has resulted in a high-value intercept. They have proven that the City class is not just a paper tiger. Beyond the immediate tactical victory of the HMS Glasgow and the operational embarrassment for the Northern Fleet, we must step back to understand the broader strategic chessboard. Why is a single submarine surfacing in the North Atlantic a headline event? The answer lies in the fragile architecture of European security in 2026. According to strategic assessments by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, the Russian Navy, despite its surface fleet limitations, has successfully modernized its submarine force to execute a strategy of asymmetric denial. The Yasen-M is the linchpin of this doctrine. Unlike the Soviet era, where the goal was mass-on-mass conflict, the modern Russian objective is to threaten the Atlantic Bridge, the vital sea lines of communication that connect North America to Europe. If a conflict were to break out in Eastern Europe today, 90% of the heavy military equipment, fuel, and sustainment required by NATO forces would have to cross the Atlantic by ship. A single Yasen-M, lurking undetected in the GIUK Gap, equipped with Zircon hypersonic missiles, has the theoretical capability to disrupt this flow or strike key port infrastructure in the UK and northern France. This is why the Royal Navy has invested so heavily in the Type 26 program. The interception we witnessed today is not just a patrol. It is a proof of concept for NATO's ability to keep that bridge open. Analysts at the U.S. Naval Institute, USNI, have long warned of the Fourth Battle of the Atlantic. This battle is not fought with convoy wolfpacks, but with sensors and data. The fact that the HMS Glasgow was able to track the Yasen-M suggests a significant leap in Western acoustic processing. The Yasen-M is coated in what is widely considered the best anechoic tiling in the world, designed to absorb sonar pulses. For the Type 26's Sonar 2087 to penetrate that stealth suggests that British algorithms may have cracked the code of distinguishing the submarine's hole in the water from the background ocean noise. However, we must also consider the Russian perspective. Why send their most valuable asset this far south? The International Institute for Strategic Studies, IISS, suggests this is a classic show of force projected through the lens of hybrid warfare. By operating in the GIUK Gap, Moscow is signaling that its reach remains global. Even if the submarine was forced to surface due to a malfunction, the initial deployment proves they are willing to push their operational envelope. It forces NATO to expend disproportionate resources, keeping expensive frigates and P-8A aircraft on constant rotation to track a single unit. This imposes a cost imposition strategy on the alliance. Furthermore, reports from the war zone indicate that this incident will likely accelerate the militarization of the Arctic and North Atlantic. we are already seeing the reactivation of Cold War-era bases in Iceland and Norway. The surfacing of the Kazan, or its sister ship, serves as a catalyst for NATO members to increase defense spending, specifically in anti-submarine warfare capabilities which languished after the fall of the Berlin Wall. There is also a technological dimension to this analysis. If the surfacing was indeed caused by a technical failure, as suspected by Western intelligence, it points to a persistent weakness in the Russian military-industrial complex: quality control. Building a titanium-hulled, hypersonic-capable submarine is an engineering marvel. Maintaining it for long-range patrols requires a logistical backbone that Russia has historically struggled to sustain under sanctions. A Ferrari is useless if the engine overheats 10 miles from the garage. Today's incident may reveal that while Russian designs are lethal, their operational reliability in 2026 is still plagued by the ghosts of their Soviet past. Conversely, for the UK Ministry of Defence, this is a massive vindication. The Type 26 program faced delays and budget scrutiny. Critics argued that in the age of drones and hypersonics, large surface ships were obsolete. Today, the HMS Glasgow proved that to catch a submarine, you still need a ship in the water. The data gathered from this encounter will be invaluable. Every turn of the Yasen-M's screw, every transient noise from its pumps, has likely been recorded and will be used to train AI models for future detection. In the grand calculus of deterrence, today was a win for NATO. The invisible enemy was made visible. But it is a sobering reminder. The Atlantic is not a sanctuary. It is a contested battle space. And as the ice melts in the high north, opening new transit routes, these cat-and-mouse games will only become more frequent and more dangerous. To wrap up this intelligence briefing, the events transpiring today in the GIUK Gap serve as a stark wake-up call. For nearly 2 decades, the focus of global security has been on asymmetric counterterrorism or the rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific. But today, the North Atlantic has loudly reminded us that the old Cold War theater is very much alive, and it has evolved. The interception of the Yasen-M by HMS Glasgow is more than just a cat-and-mouse game. It is a validation of a new generation of naval warfare. We have moved beyond the era of brute tonnage into the era of acoustic supremacy and data fusion. The Royal Navy's gamble on the specialized Type 26 design appears, at this early stage, to have paid off. They have proven that with the right technology, even the quietest adversaries can be denied the sanctuary of the deep. However, we must not fall into the trap of complacency. The Russian Navy, despite its logistical struggles, remains capable of projecting lethal force. The submarine that surfaced today is merely one unit of a fleet that is actively probing NATO's defenses every single day. The ocean is vast, physics is unforgiving, and the margin for error between a successful intercept and a strategic surprise is razor-thin. As this situation develops, our team will be monitoring the HMS Glasgow's return to port and analyzing any further released imagery of the Russian vessel for signs of hull damage or anechoic tile loss. If you value this level of unfiltered technical naval analysis, where we prioritize hull numbers, sonar frequencies, and strategic facts over mainstream sensationalism, then make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Turn on the notification bell. In the world of naval intelligence, information is the primary ammunition, and you do not want to be late to the briefing. This is Naval Power and Tech. Stand by for further updates. Bye-bye.